Let me first push the record and then spotlight what we are doing. So again, most welcome. I want to start today by welcoming the teachers who are with us today. We shall be talking about photograph interpretation. Quite a number of areas are important. But before we go further, I want to recognize some of the teachers who have been with us all along. So at this time, I'm going to request the teachers to, if you're able to turn on your camera, kindly turn it on and then introduce yourself. Let me start with Brother Charles Dominic Kagoye, who I have seen. Brother.
Golooba.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure having you this afternoon. And how are you doing and how is everything?
Everything is fine this way.
That's good.
I'm not able to see your video. Yeah, I think I've seen you because I want to spotlight you so that people see who we are talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So you could introduce yourself, brother, because they are.
Yeah, I'm Brother Charles. I'm Brother Charles Dominic Kagoye. I'm a teacher of geography, and we co-work with Kalema to try to see that we do everything. And I want to welcome the geographers and the students who are online that welcome for today's sessions. And we want to feel and think that we shall be able to give everything that you would have wanted or that you would want for today. Please feel comfortable, feel free. All these interactions, we try to, every time when we come on board, we try to improve. And I know that Ayubu has many programs, as in the requests as per last week that possibly will be added on and try to see. Otherwise, welcome everyone.
You're welcome, Mr.
Thank you.
So, could we go to Brother Solomon?
Yeah, good afternoon, Kalema and the rest of the teachers and the students with us. I am Solomon Asea, teacher of geography at SMAC. About 2 weeks ago, we're here to discuss something on geography paper 1, that is a map, photographic interpretation. And today we shall continue with the same program. Nice being here for this program.
You're welcome, Brother Asea. If there are other teachers in the room at this time, please raise your hand so that we can have you introduced. Okay. Okay, Madam Nambi, Margaret, I'm going to spotlight you. Okay.
Hello. Yeah. Mr. Golooba, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is Nambi Margaret. I teach at Samika Memorial College. I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome, Madam. We are so delighted.
Memorial College at Maganjo. Thank you, Mr. Golooba, for this organization.
You're welcome, Madam. We are so delighted to have you here with us today. Are there other teachers in the room? I would like to have the opportunity to introduce you at this time. Okay, so those are the teachers we have at this time. Delighted to have you fellow teachers with us. Okay, I see, wow, this looks like my colleague. Someone with Infinix, is this Mr. Andego? Infinix 10, please go ahead. Could that be Mr. Andego? You have Infinix Hot 10. Please turn on your microphone. Teacher?
Peter One Girls School.
So could you repeat, sir?
I don't know, I'm Bamege Peter One Girls School.
Peter?
Bamege Peter One Girls School in Jinja.
Okay, Peter.
Bamege One Girls School in Jinja. Okay. Bamege.
Yes, Mr.
In One Girls School. Yeah, Thank you very much for this program.
You're welcome, sir. The network is not very good at your end, but we're able to pick your name, Mr. Bamege Peter from Wanyange Girls School. We are delighted to have you here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all most welcome. I am Golova Kalema Ayub. I am a teacher of geography and ICT at Nabisunsa Girls School. We also run a program called the Holistic E-Learning Program for Uganda. That program brings together teachers and other people to ensure that we improve education through collaboration, use of ICT, and other areas. I'm also a member of the GiantPedia program team, which at the same time provides solutions to schools to enable them improve the learning. We provide e-learning solutions, we build e-learning management systems, and bring together teachers. Today, it's a continuation of our journey. We have had engagements in photograph interpretation with Mr. Asea. We've had engagements in mining with the brother Kagoye Charles. Now today, we continue with the photograph interpretation. I would like to take a minute to ask you to go into the chat room, to introduce yourselves, put your name, and then the school you come from, so that we know who is here. So kindly, for just 2 minutes, as we get set, please go to the chat room, let us get to know each other. Part of the learning process is working together. So let's introduce each other. Dear students, go into the chat room, name, your name and your school. You're most welcome. Very soon we shall have Mr. Asea starting. So thank you. Let's give it 2 minutes as our colleague, Mr. Asea, gets set. We shall also be sharing a registration form. It will come later so that we can be able to follow you, answer questions, etc., etc. So kindly hit the chat room and then let us introduce ourselves quickly. I see I need questions that have come in quickly. I need help in how to access the notes. We shall be showing that, and you are saying in paper 2, so we shall be indicating that. Rebecca from Nabisunsa, you're most welcome to this platform. Adongo from Adong Sheila, most welcome. Huh? Adongo Sheila from St. Mary's Madeira, most welcome to our platform today. Bamege Peter from Wanyange Girls, most welcome. Mr. Munyigwa Benjamin from Kireka High School, most welcome to this platform today. Who else has stand up today? Mr. Munyigwa, yep, from then Vivian, Nakisos Vivian from Brightway College School, most welcome to our platform. Cindy Monique from Chigumba Parent Secondary School, most welcome to see you here with us. Murunji Karen from St. Mary's SS Kitende, you're most welcome. Kigundu Mark from Bugema Adventist, most welcome. We are glad to be with you today. Olivia Kobrunji, most welcome. Who else? Mark, yes. So the rest of us, let us get into the chat room. Nakate Mary Goriti, teacher from Kingsway High School, most welcome. Angela Namayanja, Our Lady of Good Counsel, SS Gayaza, welcome. Mr. Muhangazi Paul from Light Academy Secondary School Boys, welcome. Mr. Kaplum Alosias from Ndeje SS, you're most welcome. Shifa from Wampe Wontake SS, most welcome. Mr. Bukenya Edwin from Bishop Cipriane, most welcome. Students from Chitente, welcome. Caleb Bugembo from Maryland High School, most welcome. Dombo, did I skip Dombo? Bukenya Edwin from Bishop Cyprian, I got you, yes. Caleb Bugembe from Maryland, yes. Naiga Garita from Wanyange Girls, Wanyange, our friends, most welcome. You have the whole country today. Guys, you are most welcome. We are delighted to have you here with us. And please continue introducing yourselves. Jackson from Tauka Magezi, Ntake Butambala. Great. We are happy to have you here. Oh, okay. Who else? Liza here. Aruhweza Keith from Namiriango High. Great. Timothy from Smack. Great. Timothy, Smack. Yes. Most welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the day when we have our experts, our fellow teachers, sharing with us his knowledge, his experiences in geography. So without further ado, I would like to, let me first make Mr. Asea host. I would like to welcome Mr. Asea Solomon to share with us. Just a moment, just to ensure that Mr. Asea is a co-host and can be able to do whatever he wants to do on this platform. So I'm handing over Mr. Asea. A few ground rules before we start. Okay. A few ground rules before Mr. Asea starts. We want to be sure that you are able to mute yourselves. We want to be sure that you are able to mute yourselves. We want to be sure that you can unmute yourselves to start to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as Mr. Asea presents, keep the chat room busy if you have questions. We shall let him present for some time before we stop him to have questions. He will present and then we'll have questions at some point. I think we could have 2 or 3 breaks in between, but we don't interrupt him when he's presenting, unless he invites for comments. Mr. Asea Solomon, are we ready to ramp up?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, I believe now we are ready. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalema, for this opportunity to once again share something concerning photographic interpretation. So my fellow teachers and students here, you are once again welcome. Last time we introduced ourselves to photographic interpretation, what we described as basically photo reading and photo interpretation. Because some of the things may not be read directly from the photograph, they have to be geographically interpreted. So we shall continue from there. Then we shall also have some case studies. We may not be able to deal with everything, but at least I will endeavor to go quite slowly so that we can be able to pick. And you can also be able to jot down some things, but later on we shall be able to avail the presentation to you after it has been well unbeaten. So we introduced ourselves, geography. We saw the types of geography, and we looked at, not geography of photograph, the types of photographs, and the description of features on photographs, especially the location of the different ways in which one can locate features on a photograph. So let me try to share this. And try to share this presentation. We can, so that we can be able to follow. So we had dealt with, among other things, we had reached a point whereby we were looking at the location of features on a photograph. And we had said that the divisions, the parts or divisions of photograph may include the foreground, the middle ground, the background, then we have the right part, the middle or center part, and the left part. That one I think is clear. Let me. Then we had also. So we had said that the photograph can be divided horizontally into the foreground the middle ground, and the background. And we stress that if it is a high oblique photograph, or a ground photograph whereby the sky appears like here, then the background ends where the horizon is. The sky may not be part of the what? Background. That's what we stressed. So we have the foreground, middle, and background. Then we also said that the photograph may also be divided into the left, the middle, and the right parts. That is those are the vertical visions of a photograph. Then when you combine the vertical and the horizontal divisions, you come up with nine parts or divisions of a photograph, where we have the left. Now combined, this is the left part, it is on the background, so it referred to as the left background, and so on and so forth, as you may see there, and as you may have studied. It may also just be a reminder of what you studied in your senior 3, senior 4, even some as far as senior 1. Then we said that the divisions, as far as the grounds are concerned, may not apply to aerial photographs. They may not apply to aerial photographs. So parts of an aerial photograph, or the divisions of an aerial photograph, can be of the top part, or the upper part, top part or the upper part, then the center or the middle part, center or then the middle part, then the bottom part or the lower part. One can call it the bottom part of the photograph, or can call it the lower part of the photograph. Then the vertical divisions may remain the same: the right, the middle, and the left parts. But otherwise, we have the top, the center, and the bottom, or the upper, the middle, and the lower parts of a photo, of an aerial photograph. When trying to locate features, and in case it is an aerial photograph, don't say don't talk of the background. Don't talk of anything like the foreground. Others, that lacks any form of geographical validity. And in case of exams, it will be crossed. It will be marked wrong because it is a wrong form of geographical description. So with aerial photographs, be careful with that. Others even go ahead and refer to the top part as the northern part, which is not so. And generally on photographs, unless you have been told, there is no way of determining the direction on the photograph in terms of the cardinal and sub-cardinal points. In terms of the cardinal and sub-cardinal points, you may not tell the what direction. The only direction you can tell is whether it is to the right or to the left. That is the only way you can tell the direction. Otherwise, there's nothing like north, south, east on a photograph. That's why we talk of the grounds, and also for aerial photographs, the top, the center, and the bottom. Now, here now leads us to the 9 subdivisions, of an aerial photograph. When you combine the two here, because an aerial photograph has nothing like the what? Like a horizon or part of the sky. It is not like a high oblique photograph. So the whole thing is covered. We have the top left. Then on the left part, we have the top left, the left middle part, the bottom left part. the top center part, the middle center part, and so on and so forth. As you can see, the top right part, the top right, the top left, the bottom right, the bottom left. You can see the main subdivisions of an aerial photograph, such that in case something lies here, you can be able to describe it accordingly. It may lie here and here. So generally, if it takes more than 2 of these divisions, then generally you can say it is in the top part of the photograph. You don't say it is in the top left part and also in the top center part. That will now be being so mechanical. It is generally in the top part of the photograph. Okay, I hope that is quite clear. Then we say that, however, parts or divisions of the photograph may depend on the inclination of the inclination of the axis of the camera, the way the camera has been orientated. The orientation of the axis of the camera may also depend. So one should not be rigid and say that this is the background, this is the what? This is the background, this is the foreground. It may not necessarily be just like this one. We saw it last time. I'm just trying to review this photograph you see here. And I asked that, what is the foreground here? What is the foreground here? Now, if I may try to mark the foreground here, I would say the foreground is this part here. I'm going to annotate this is the what? This is the foreground. This is the foreground. Then the middle ground will be this. This other one here. Then I mean the middle ground would be. I can undo this other one. This will be the middle ground. Then the background will be that one. Background, the middle ground, and this other one generally would be the what? The foreground. Okay, foreground can be up to here. So this other one, if we can try to make it in. So this is a, so we may not have to specifically or say that what is in this top part of the photograph here is the background, not necessarily. And what is all here is the back, because you see the orientation of the camera here was in such a way that it was inclined, and much of the left lies in the foreground. Okay, so I think that is what we tried to say the other time. Now, then we talked of description of physical features. So description of features on a photograph and the process for their formation, like landforms, because there could be some photograph, a feature there which could appear like an isobag. Then there's identify the feature found in the formed. That is a similar question. Then drainage features and patterns. About drainage features and patterns, describing them, describe the vegetation, and so on and so forth. Also, last time we said that you can also describe the weather. This is a review. Also, the land use activities. Identifying the land use activity or the economic activity, the factors influencing and suggesting problems, factors influencing the economic activity, and also problems affecting the economic activity, suggesting the problems, and usually they request for evidence. Then the solutions, the problems, relationship between phenomena, drawing of a landscape sketch, figuring out areas in South Africa where the photograph could have been taken. This is what we saw the other time. So it is from these ones that we shall have some case study and see how we can guide you, starting with possibly a drawing of a sketch, of a landscape sketch. Landscape sketch. Then, because with the drawing of a landscape sketch, this is a kind of a panoramic view of what you observe in the photograph. Even like in a geography paper 3, if you're asked to draw a landscape sketch, then what you draw is a what? Definitely what you come out with is a panorama. Now there's this photograph here. I think you are seeing this photograph. This is the photograph which will guide us in our discussion. This photograph, I hope it is clear. It will guide us into those other areas that we have been able to see. Even we shall draw a sketch, landscape sketch of this photograph. So this is the photograph provided. If I may ask, what type of photograph is it? Of course, this photograph was taken from an angle. So it is an oblique photograph. An oblique photograph. Just that the background is some raised land area. So this is an oblique photograph. Now the question is it low oblique or high oblique? It is definitely, a low oblique photograph, just because there is no skyline seen. So this is an oblique photograph, specifically a low oblique photograph. And this photograph here, we can be able to, we can be able to demarcate it. We're seeing this part here. This is the background. That is the background. Then this general, the middle ground is here, and this is the foreground. The background. Background, BG, the middle ground, and the foreground. So these are the divisions, the horizontal divisions. Of course, this side is the left, and this side is the what? Right, and this is the center. So we have been able to divide this photograph, and it is from there that we shall be able to locate features, because in most cases, when answering a question as far as the photograph is concerned, they normally require, with the reading, they normally require you to provide evidence. Evidence is by locating the thing. Is it in the foreground or is it in the middle ground? That is providing evidence, and you also should be able to locate it. Should also be able to locate it. Okay, so this is our photograph. Now, going to the questions, you can see here, I got this sample question that draw a landscape sketch of the area shown on the photograph, and on it mark and name the relief features, the settlements, the vegetation types, the transport routes. So draw a landscape sketch of the area shown in the photograph, and on it mark and name the relief features, the settlements, the vegetation types, the transport routes. This is the photograph. Draw what you see, the landscape sketch, and it mark and the relief features, the settlements, the vegetation types, and the transport routes. So before you draw, just like as you could have studied in your senior one when dealing with the maps, a sketch with maps or sketches are expected to have a title. They're expected to also have to be cut off, encased. Then they're also expected to have a what? A key, or they're expected to be well labeled. Now, with this, the landscape sketch you draw should have marginal information. So the landscape sketch needs to have the following marginal information. There should be marginal information in the first place, because these ones reflect that you have the geographical skills of sketching. So the landscape sketch needs to have the following marginal information. So what is it? A descriptive title. It must have a title or heading, which is descriptive, stating the features being shown. Stating the features being shown. But a landscape sketch of the area shown in the photograph, showing relief features, settlements, vegetation types, and transport routes. Just a title, because there's marks, normally marks for such. Then there should be an enclosing frame. Enclosing frame. The reason why I put here enclosing is that some people at times just draw something like an L. There are times just draw something like an L like this. Then they draw their features, they draw their features, but the frame is not what? Complete. It lacks this part and it lacks this part. So if the frame is not complete, then no mark for it also. It must encase the sketch. So that's why we're talking about there should be an enclosing frame, Then the other one is the key, or it should be well labeled, the key or the labeling, because they said and on mark and name. So on the sketch itself, you have labeled on the sketch. But there are certain things which can be put clearly as a what? As a key. So ensure that you must have this, because normally it carries a mark, this is another mark, and this another what? Mark. So the three here. You may miss a D1 just because you have not done what? Put a proper title. The title should not just be landscape sketch over there. It must be descriptive, stating the features being shown. This is not something new. Now, like here, for example, this is our title for the other photograph. If we may reflect back on that photograph, we will be flashing back to that photograph. A landscape sketch of the area in the photograph showing relief features, settlements, vegetation types, and transport routes. I think you have seen here. This is a descriptive title. It is saying the landscape sketch of what? Of the area which is shown in the photograph. They have not specified the area, so you can state that. Showing what? What is showing is that, so it is a descriptive title. So this is the title. This will be a mark. Now, if we can go back to this photograph here, what relief features are there? I think I can see in the background, there are hills. Sorry, I wanted to annotate. You can see there are hills here. Hills. Then also there are steep slopes. So here in the foreground we have the lowland here, or this could also be flatland, or it could be a valley, a broad lowland, but compared to this is what? Lowland. Then here we have a valley. We also have some valley, some U-shaped valleys there. There are U-shaped valleys, and so you have, those are some of the relief features. There are also gentle slopes here. Here you can see these slopes are quite gentle, but I will show you the other ones. They are gentle slopes. Then this extension of the this buttress or extension of the highland is what we refer to as the spur. There's a spur here. Also here, this is a spur. The radiating end of the highland or hill. A spur there. Spur. So these could be uplands, hills, or highlands, or ridges in the background. So the photograph, now the transport routes. What transport routes do you observe here? I can see here in the left part, there is a road here. Transport routes, there's a road here. There is what? There's also another road here. Then they are either foot tracks or motorable tracks in the hills, like this one here. This one, no, it may be a motorable track along the trees here. If one can be able to interpret a motorable track. And also there could be footpaths, but what is significant as the roads, as you can see them here clearly. We have the roads. Then the vegetation type. Here we see trees or forests. This is a group of trees, is a forest. Trees, also here trees in the middle ground, trees in the ground, trees in the foreground, and trees in the background there. So there are trees. Then we have here, these are pastures. We have animals here, pastures. This is a short grass, or this could be grassland. So, yes, there is a Julia has raised her hand. I think I think something. If something is pressing, you can raise your hand. Okay, I think you can unmute yourself, and you ask.
Aloysius. Okay, Aloysius. Did you say Julian?
Yes, Julian. Yeah, Julian put up her hand first. Yeah.
Okay, Julian, please.
Julia.
Julia, are you still there? Julia, we can't hear you. Could you speak a little louder?
I have a question. How do you tell the
Motorable trucks?
Yes.
Okay. How do you tell the motorable trucks from the roads or the foot trucks? Okay, that one I already answer. And how about Aloysius? Aloysius was also asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you feel free to answer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My point was, can you please give more light about low oblique and then a high oblique?
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Possibly it is because you were not here last time. That one we spent a lot of time, but still I already said something about it. Okay.
Okay, so then
Mr.
it's spa.
We'll share the link to the previous video.
Okay, Kari. Yeah.
Then a spa.
And then a spa.
Yeah, that relief feature.
The relief feature.
Yes.
Unless here the spas are not so clear. Okay, now like you have seen where the cursor is. The cursor.
Yes,
this
sir.
is the radiating lower end of the what? The radiating lower end of the hill. You normally see such radiating lower ends of hills. This is
Yes.
a spa. So this is a spa here, and even there's a spa here. Last time we looked at some photographs which had a very good side. Then another one gets this, then you find it, then later on you find out what are known as interlocking spars. So the spars are the lower radiating ends of what? Of hills.
Okay, sir.
Okay, got it. Now
then I'm sorry. With the features of trees now, like this one which are combined, should you use forests or just use trees?
Yes, but this group, where there are groups of trees here, this one is a forest there. It's a small forest, but you can talk of trees. There is no problem, because forests are made of trees. So you can set vegetation type, they are trees. Here they are grasslands, they're grasses. Now, okay, you're welcome. Then with the other issue of the motorable truck and the road. A road, this one here is a road, can see it is clear, bare, but then a truck is something I could describe like a small undeveloped road, where a car can use it. Otherwise, it is something between a footpath and a road, something between a footpath and a road. People may use it as footpaths, but you may find a car can be able to go through it. That's why we call it motorable. Motor vehicles can pass through it. Some kind of a poor road, yeah, almost like a path, but a vehicle can be able to pass through it. That is a motorable truck. Now, like here, I can see it here, because with that one there, I'm calling it a motorable truck, because it is not so clear, but some of these things can be inferred, So here we can call it a motorable truck, because we can see buildings are there. So even how the buildings were put up, because vehicles are to take the things there. But otherwise, a major road, it can be bound surface, it can be loose surface. Bound surface are the tarmac roads, like here. No, this is not tarmac, but this is a loose surface road, but it is a road. Those poor roads, something between a footpath and a poor road is what? A motorable truck, so long as a vehicle can pass through. So the vegetation types, the grass, we talk of grass. Then we can talk of what? The trees. Then the transport routes. Don't just say transport route, but say what? A road or a motorable truck. Okay. Now, let me go back to the other one. So this is our what? Title. We say the title carries a mark. So some title like this, a good title like this, when one is marking, this is a what? This is a tick. Otherwise, if it lacks the other things, then it will be crossed. Okay. So now here is our what? Here is our sketch. We drew the sketch. So this is the landscape sketch of our aerial, of our oblique photograph. You can see in the background there, hills. There's a road here, then there is a major road here. This road is quite clear. Then here there are trees or forest in the foreground. Here there are also trees. The relief features. The relief features, we have the hills or the highlands, or could be the uplands. The hills in the background. Then we have the steep slopes. You have indicated here steep what? No, this is the gentle slope. The spar, there's a spar here. The radiating lower end of the hill, a spar here. There's another spar also here. Then here it is a steep what? A steep slope. And in between these two hills, there is a valley. There's a valley, as we saw in the photograph. There's a valley here. Gentle slopes here. Then in the foreground, we have a flatland. Flatland or a lowland, which could be part of the broad valley. So a flatland or lowland. In terms of vegetation, we have the grassland or the grass and the trees. Then the settlements, we have the buildings. We then have the buildings there. Eli Julius. Eli Julius. Eli Julius, I think you can unmute yourself and you ask. There are some two people who have raised up their hands. There is a Manyingwa Benjamin and Eli Julius. So you unmute yourselves and you can ask again.
Julius. Julius has no microphone. Needs to connect his audio.
I could see it there. Julius has the microphone is not connected. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Benjamin.
Benjamin. Yeah, I think we're hearing you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
When you are building the house, don't put the draw inside the house.
The what?
Do you just draw a symbol to represent the house, or you label? Seeing here, you did not label.
No, I labeled the house. I said that the houses are what settlements.
I wanted to know if you all the house in the you are drawing the landscape. Or you just
I think network problems when you are keeping on breaking. I don't know whether I hope you have got him clearly.
No, I haven't managed. Could Mr. Munyigwa, could you try? No, he's gone off actually. His network was
but I think he was asking, he was asking about the houses, the symbols, the pictorial, where we use the pictorial symbols. Another thing one has got to take note of is on a landscape sketch. A landscape sketch, we use pictorial symbols, the pictorial symbols, the pictures, just like on a panorama. You have seen here the buildings drawn like this, the buildings. So these are the what? Settlements that were the houses denoting the settlements. So I've seen there.
Mr. Asea, there are a few questions in the chat room. One is, how do you identify a ridge and then a saddle? What are they? What are they? A ridge and a saddle.
And a ridge and a saddle, okay? So a ridge is an extended hill. A ridge is an extended hill. And there could be saddles because a ridge, because you have these hills, these are generally highlands. So we could refer them to as what? Ridges, though some sections are higher. This one is higher than this other one. So the lowland, a saddle is a lowland between two hills. A wide lowland, if the lowland is wide, we call it a saddle. Two hills, the lowland between two hills is a saddle. If it is a narrow lowland between two hills, then it is a what? A col. Now, like this one is there, we have seen it. These may be cols. The ones who have called it valleys, they can also be referred to as cols, because you have this hill here, this hill here. Otherwise, the entire area made of these independent hills is generally some highland, some upland or highland area, which gives us what is called a ridge. A ridge is an elongated or an extended highland system or hill system. So, but a saddle, is a lowland between two hills. If the lowland is, that is if the lowland is wide, but if the lowland is narrow, we call it a col. Okay, so we have seen this. Now, our marginal information here, assuming that we are to mark our marginal information. This frame is a complete frame, a tick there. Then for the key and the labeling, it is also a mark, as you can see there. Now the relief features. Is it in its right place? The hills, a tick. The spar in right place, the spar, a tick. Gentle slope, also a tick in the right place. Gentle slope was already been awarded. The spar has already been awarded. Then lowland or flatland area, also a tick there. Steep slope, has been awarded steep slope, not yet. So steep slope here also. So we have how many ticks here for the relief features? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if the marks are available, you'll get all that. But if not, also they may consider 3 or 4. Now, our settlements are denoted by the houses or the what? Buildings. So that it could be one mark. Either this one, if this one's marked, also or that one, or these ones here, or these ones, these settlements. Then the vegetation types, we talked of the grassland or the grass. Then the trees, there are those two. Then the transport routes, we have the what? Roads. The roads are here. Road there is, unless if one clearly marked a motorable track, or those who are associated with the roads. The footpaths, you may not be able to indicate them clearly here. So you have seen now the marking. One has labeled and has put them in the right positions. So long as the features are in the right positions and well marked, what we did was marking. Then writing these words here is labeling. Marking, then labeling on the what? Landscape sketch. Okay. So I may go to the next thing here. Sketch, Now here, the relief features. The relief features which we have seen there are the hills, or the highlands, or you can even struck it with the what? Ridges. So the whole of these hills, the hill system there makes it a what? A ridge. Someone asked, the hill system makes it a what? A ridge. Then the steep slopes. Steep slopes. Gentle slopes. Gentle slopes. We have also seen the lowlands or the flatlands. Then the valleys. The valleys are in the what? In the highland area, valleys and the spurs. So these are some of the relief features. So also these relief features, these relief features are also, you can also struck them with what? They can also be called, because there are certain questions which you may refer to as physiographic what? Physiographic features. Physiographic features. So there are times the relief features or landforms may also be referred to as the physiographic features. So when they ask you that mark and label the physiographic features, they are the same as the relief features or the landforms. These will be the same things. But then there are times when they may, instead of relief features, they write relief what? Regions. What is the difference between a relief region and a relief feature? So a region is a wider area. Now like here, in that photograph. Okay, may. In this photograph here, the whole of this background area, when they talk of this region is a hilly region. It is a hilly region. So the hilly region has a number of features like the valleys, the cols, the steep slopes, the gentle slopes, the spurs, all those in the hilly region. Because you have asked for, we are asked for the features. But if it is a region, it is just the hilly region. Then the gently sloping region in the middle ground here. Then in the foreground, the lowland region. So a region is wide spread. A region is wide, is a wide area. Covers a large area. Within a region, there could be other features. Features are small scale. Then the settlements, as we identified them, we said the settlements include the houses, the buildings. They may include the houses or the buildings or the structures. Could be some of the farm structures, those associated with what? With settlements. So we have the houses or the buildings or the structures which are there. Then the vegetation types, trees. You can talk of the trees or the forests, Or you can talk of the short grass, or you can talk of the what? Grassland. Then the transport routes. don't just mark there and say transport route. They have told you to name that transport route. You have been asked to name the transport route. So you name it as a road or as a motorable truck. So roads or motorable trucks. Those are the transport routes. Vegetation types, you can say trees, or you can say grass, short grass or grassland. And the settlements are denoted by the buildings or the houses there. Okay, now we have this other question here also now, that with evidence from the photograph, identify the economic activities carried out in the area. With evidence from the photograph, identify the economic activities carried out in the area. So the other time we said with the help of photograph, you're able to obtain, you are able to identify and locate an economic activity or even a land use type, Then describe the problems faced by the people in carrying out economic activities identified in C1, in B. I think it's supposed to be B1 above. B1 above. Because you are told that identify the economic activities. So problems of these what? Economic activities. Now, the economic activity in the area on the photograph. With what? With evidence. Identify the economic activities. Now, like if we could go flashback, there is crop cultivation. You could say there's crop cultivation evidenced by crop fields in the background. The economic activity is crop cultivation. What is evidence? The crop fields. The evidence is the crop fields. And where you have to locate. So where? We're locating. So crop field, this is the what? The activity. The economic activity is crop cultivation. Evidence is what? This is E. I'm denoting this is E. Evidence is what? Crop fields. Evidence is crop fields. Crop cultivation is the what? Is the activity. Then where? In the background. Background, this is the what? The location. L stands for location, A for the activity, and E for the what? For the evidence. So there is crop cultivation evidenced by the crop fields in the background. Then also, I hope the image is still fresh in your minds. Otherwise, I'll go back. The other one is cattle rearing. Can talk of, because we saw then in the Broad Valley or in the lowland area, there's cattle rearing. Cattle rearing or dairy farming, but specifically in reality it is dairy farming. So cattle rearing, dairy farming, or pastoral farming, or even ranching. It's a ranching. Yeah, one could be able to do what? To talk of that. So this is what? This is the activity. Activity evidenced by animals. Evidenced by animals. Paddocks, and pastures in the foreground and the middle ground. In the fore and the middle grounds. So this is the what? The location. So these the animals and the paddocks and the pastures. This is what? The evidence. But one can just also one may only just talk of the animals, evidence. The animals or the paddocks, that is what the evidence of cattle rearing. Then the location is the middle ground. Then the other activity is the forestry, evidenced by trees or forests in the foreground and the middle ground. We saw those ones. Then transportation, evidenced by roads in the left part of the photograph. So we have roads. Those roads are evidence of transportation. And where are they? In the left part of the what? Photograph. So with the with what? With economic activities, with evidence on the photograph, yeah, you identify the economic activity, then the evidence, and you say where it is. That shows that you are what? You are reading the photograph. Otherwise, crop cultivation automatically is evidenced by crop fields. Whether the crop fields are there or not, so long as where there is a crop field, there is what? That is the evidence of what? Of cultivation. But on the photograph, is it there? It may not be there. You may just be gambling. So that's why they insist on you locating the evidence, locate the evidence as well. So if we can go back to it, we're seeing it here. Economic activities. These are crop fields with the terraces. You can see all the bandings, you can see there. Then here in the foreground, there is what? There's a animal rearing. Then this is forestry there. These roads are for transport. So this is a transportation set in the left part of these are where we see the major what? Roads. Even somewhere there, it looks like some kind of a motorable track or a road. So there is these are there. Then the other one the other activity. Okay, I may have forgotten, but basically forestry, cattle rearing or animal rearing, transport, and crop cultivation. So these are the economic activities. Now, problems. The other question we talked of problems. So identifying the problem raised by people carrying out the economic activities. Okay, there is someone, is it Pius? No. The ITEL F16, it is better to name your device here instead of calling you ITEL.
Okay. Solomon, could I read out some questions for you?
Yeah, okay, you can read them out before we go to the problems.
Thank you. First of all, before the questions, would like to request you to name your gadgets. Tap the phone, the screen of your phone. The bottom, then you tap participants. So you tap the screen. At the bottom, you'll see participants, touch it. And then your name, you'll see a list of participants. Your name will be at the very top. Tap your name, hold it a bit steady, and then rename. Give yourself a real name so that we don't call you by the name of the phone that you're holding. So, Solomon, thank you. We are having this break to handle some questions. Number one, how do you know a spa? That one is, I think you mentioned it. The second one,
yes.
If there is a plantation, can you call that vegetation? So that one, if it's a Mr. Munyigwa, kindly don't write on the screen. Kindly stop writing on the screen. So is a plantation vegetation. Then number 3 is forestry, a land use or an economic activity. Let us handle those 3 for now.
So you said, okay, about the forests.
Yeah, is a
forestry
is
is
a land
it
use or an economic activity.
Then about a plantation, whether it is a.
Yeah. So if in the photograph there is a plantation, for that one, vegetation.
Then the third question was on what?
The spa. They wanted to know what a spa is. Yes. I have photos of a spa. I think we could...
a spa. I think we shall bring some clearer, which has clear images of a spa.
Yeah.
Remind me in the end there. Otherwise, let us not behave like these young ones trying to annotate it on the what on the screen. Otherwise, it is not fair. Okay.
Guys, if you have shared our work and you're writing on it, honestly, it is not fair, and it will be fair for us to throw you out. Let us just behave like we are A-level people. This seminar is mainly for A-levels. If there are some senior 1 students, we are asking you senior 1 students that here in A-level, we don't write on these screens as we are having presenters. So the senior ones kindly don't write. These A-levels here who are very mature don't appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Asea.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, God. So going into the spa, I think with the spa, we shall be able to get some pictures afterwards. Yeah. Now, one talked of in case of a plantation. A plantation, would you refer to that as a vegetation? Yes, I think a plantation or even a crops, but now that type of vegetation could be referred to as a crop what vegetation. Could be sugarcane plantation, but it is an artificial, a planted type of what vegetation. So if it is a plantation, one could call it a crop vegetation if it is some type of vegetation. But if it has already been used in another sense as far as the crops are concerned, then you may not refer to it as a what? A vegetation type. Otherwise, we have crop vegetation. Then forestry. Is forestry an economic activity, or forestry is a land use? In the first place, what is an economic activity? An economic activity is something which is carried out, which is done in order to raise some kind of income for the people. So, forestry and land use is the activity being practiced on a what? On land. So forestry is both a land use and also an economic activity. Because if the question was asked there, what are they in the photograph? In this photograph, what are the land use types here? What land use types would you say are there? You'll talk of settlements. Not so. Let me start with the settlements. You'll talk of settlements, but settlements. Did we talk of settlements among the economic activities? We didn't, because the land is being used for people to settle. Settlements. Then the other land use to which land has been put is what? Is agriculture or cultivation. Cultivation. So cultivation there, that is also what? That's the land use. And yet we also talk of it as what? An economic activity. Here land has also been put to the growing or maintenance of trees or forests, and that is forestry. So forestry is an economic activity as well as a what? A land use too. Cattle rearing or pastoralism. Yes, that is an economic activity, but it's also what? a land use. Land has been used for transport. Transport. There are roads there. Road transport and so on. That is the land use, but also it is an economic activity. Transportation is an economic activity. So it may not be that something is purely what? Transport, is purely land use or is purely what? An economic activity. It can be, most of them tend to be what? Both. Apart from a few like settlements or like land can be, like what kind of land use is where there's a cemetery? What land use is that? That is some form of cultural what? Land use for burying the dead, for settlements. Recreational what? It can be for a football pitch. It can be a games field. That is a recreational what? Land use. It may not. It is not a what? An economic activity. So economic activities are where the use to which land has been put is mainly for generating income to support the people. Okay. Okay, now.
There are more questions in the chat room. We could, because we are approaching the end, we could handle the new subheading next week or the other week. For now, we could answer the questions. That
which was, it was about problems. Okay. Okay, got it.
There are a few more questions in the chat room.
Okay.
That is a spa. That one I said that we shall show other photos. Then I see settlement earns people income through rentals. Timo is saying settlement earns people income through rentals. So
yes, yeah, settlement. It is just like when we say that what when we, because also there are several cases where we're arguing with the students. They're saying that education, health services, that is an economic activity. Education is an economic activity, and so on. Yeah. But one should know that some of these things have they have costs. They have costs. They have to be paid for. Otherwise, it may not necessarily be a business. Just like schools. It is a form. Those who work there could be the teachers, the other staff, people in the kitchen staff, compound staff. They're employed by the school and they do what? It is a source of what? Income.
But it is not.
And okay, but it is not a business. It can even be a government school. But the people who work there earn income. Now, would you say that what a business would you talk of it? Some things like medical care have costs, and those costs have got to be paid for. Those costs have got to be paid for. Otherwise, the social services have costs which have got to be paid for, either by the government or by the community. So things like the land being used for rentals, like you may find that those who are using the land, those who are settled, it could be a housing estate. Yeah, someone who constructed the housing estate. The one who constructed it for him, he's getting money. But how about those who are using the land for settling there? Are they getting the income?
Could we stop sharing and then we put your video so that they can see you as you handle the questions? Is that fine?
Yeah, okay. So since
then they can interact with you more. Because we are approaching the end, we want to have that interaction now.
Okay, let me this one. Then I can also look at
then they can see you and interact with you more.
And also there is what? There is the other picture. Are you looking for the
I have some of the pictures. Yes, I do have. And there are a few questions we could put out of the way quickly. Is it right for me to say, from Caroline, is it right for me to say animal rearing instead of cattle rearing? Like if the photo has cattle rearing.
Yeah, it is okay. It is okay. You can talk of animal rearing. But one who may want to be specific and has that ability to figure out that they are cattle, yeah, can also say what? Cattle rearing. But otherwise it is animal, one can say animal rearing, no problem. That's why we talk of pastoral farming. Pastoral farming or pastoralism.
Okay. Kayanja, Eric, ask your question directly. Kayanja.
Kayanja, you may ask.
Kayanja, ask.
Sir, I wanted to ask that, yeah?
Yes.
Can I use trees to prove for lumbering?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So he's asking whether trees, the presence of trees or forests can be evidence of lumbering. And you say that the economic activity there is lumbering. Okay, you may not, because lumbering involves the felling of trees, the cutting of trees to provide to the sawmill. So there should be an activity whereby trees are a photograph whereby trees are being cut, trees have been felled. That shows what? Lumbering. But otherwise, it can be a forest reserve. It may be a forest reserve where cutting of trees is not allowed. And we say forests are an economic activity because they help a lot. It is not only we get timber from them, but forests we can get fruits. If it is a big forest, activities like tourism can take place within that forest. And also it helps in modifying the climate. So that's why we talk of forestry. The benefits of forestry are both environmental and also in terms of what? Products, not just the lumbering. So you may not say that there's lumbering.
Okay, so another question, yeah?
Yes, okay.
Then the minimum point, as in the minimum points we should give out.
The minimum, it will depend on the marking scheme, but try to give all, try to exhaust the points, the minimum, just try to exhaust, because now like the other one we saw about the economic activities, did we give 4 or 5 economic activities? We gave about 5 of them, but you may find that the marking guide could have required 3. So minimum, just try to, and if the marks is available, you may find that they can even give 4 or even 5. So one who has given 5 is at what? At an advantage. My advice is just try to exhaust them. There may be no minimum. It's better to do what? To give them and you don't earn anything from them than giving less. Okay, I think that is clear.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Angela Namikisa.
Yes, Angela.
Thank you, sir. I'm asking a question about the football pitch. Can it be both an economic activity center, because people who may be coming to watch football may be required to pay some money to come and watch football. So when they pay money, can't that be an economic activity? Or even people hiring the football pitch to maybe do some economic activity. So can't the football pitch be both sports and economic activity?
Yes.
Thank you,
okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it can be, because many things most of them, many of the things may be so, but what we're talking of is the general or the conventional system of things. It is just like you may find that it can be a government school. People may come, they may hire it for an activity, and they pay. Because I remember there was a school where there was people, the World Vision paid a lot of money to host an activity in the school. So would we then say that this government school is a business thing? So what I'm saying is that there are certain things whereby it may not necessarily be purely business, but some of those ones are to meet the costs of operation, Normally, those who run such things, some of these things may not be, they try as much as possible to ensure that they sustain themselves. Otherwise, yeah, it's okay. It's possible that it can be for business, especially in Europe there. Okay? Most of those facilities are income generating facilities. But where some, especially things to do with the tourism, if it is tourism, yeah, because tourists normally, some recreational facilities are broadly utilized by tourists. So it may.
Okay.
It's okay, one can call it an economic activity, but generally, yeah, we normally tend to categorize those ones as land use types, not necessarily as what economic activities.
Okay. So a few more questions. I'm going to mute people. I'm muting you. Now, one is a few questions that have come in directly. Does this lesson happen every Wednesday? Yes. So these are lessons that we do every day on Wednesday from 2:30 to 4 p.m. That's why we are closing any minute from now. So make sure that you come early next time. Two, those who missed the lesson, who came late, I have shared with you a link in the chat room. So there is a link there. You can follow and look at the lesson for which we have had. There are also other lessons that we had last time. Three, there is a WhatsApp group that we created. I'm going to show that shortly. Four, there are questions to do with how do you know the economic activity? How do you know where the photograph was taken from? Those are questions that we shall look at next week, the week after. What I fear about going way beyond the time is next time other people will not come. So we want to maintain the time for 4 p.m. If we exceed by just a few minutes. So we're gonna, let's say if you think it is okay, I could as well share with you some of the pictures that we are talking about. Okay, great ones. Yes, that one, you found it. So, Mr. Asea, over to you. Solomon, you need to unmute.
Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Now, I was saying that this part of the radiating end of this hill here is a spar. This is a spar, this is a spar. This is also a what? This is a spar, and this is a spar. So in between spars, usually they are what? They are valleys. So this is a valley. A spar, in between is a valley. A spar, in between is what? A valley. This is a spar, in between is a valley. Now, at times you may find this spar may get into that one. There's another one also getting into this one. So you end up having interlocking what? Spars. Just like there's another one here. You can also see this one here. There's this one. This is a spar. This is a spar. Now here, this other end here, this other end is a spar. This is a spar. This is a spar. This spar gets into this other section here. this spar gets into that one there. This spar here gets into this other end here. Then you find that these are now interlocking what? Spars. These spars are interlocking. This one gets into that one gets into this other. So this one gets into this one's valley, this one gets into interlocking spars. Interlocking spars now. I think you have got what a spar is now. The lower radiating ends of a hill. There are people who have raised up their hands. Mr. Kalema.
Aloysius Kaplum.
Sorry, good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, how are you? Okay.
I'm fine, sir. So about giving, let me say, problems faced by people in the landscape, should you also like mind about the tense and the adjective, then the problems and the effects, like the tense that you're using while answering? Should that be a key factor?
Yes, depending on the question. For example, if that suggest the problems faced by the people, or what problems are faced by the people. The or question can be what can be done? What can be done? Or what has been done to solve the problem. There's what can be done and what is being done. So depending on the question, of course, one has got to answer in accordingly. So the tense will be appropriate.
Okay, sir. So it's
otherwise.
I'm sorry. So it's a key factor, like the tense you're using.
Yes, yeah. Depending on the question. Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The tense can be done because if they say what steps have been taken, and then you start saying that the people should construct drainage ditches, they should paddock, should plant trees. Are those the steps that have been taken? So the tense matters. The other one is suggesting. Okay, so any other question?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Could you please repeat the definition of a spar?
A spar. A spar is the radiating lower end of a hill. Radiating lower end of a hill.
And to radiate is to extend, to spread out.
Extend.
The part of the hill
to spread out
extends into a valley, into a lower area. That one we are calling the spar. That's why he's using the term radiating, extending.
To radiate, yeah. Projecting, yeah.
Okay.
So it is a projecting outwards.
Okay. Peter.
Yes.
Peter, and
okay. Thank you very much, dear members, the presenters. Really highly appreciate. Well, mine is just a simple suggestion to make maybe our lessons much more productive. How I wish maybe at some point those illustrations could be made on the screen. It would be much more meaningful, and I think it will bring out the pictures for the target group. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
There is too much noise and we are not getting the question. Let people unmute. Let people mute. There is too much noise, sir. We have not got the question.
Okay, the noise was from his end, from the person who was asking. So we didn't want to mute him because the noise was from where he was, the person was asking. So let's go on, Mr. Asea. Did if you go to the question, you could repeat so that they get it. He was suggesting something about what we could do to improve, and I didn't get it.
Okay, he was saying that we could project the what? The illustrations or the images, I think, which we have been doing, but I don't know whether he was meaning the use of the whiteboard. Possibly he was meaning the use of the whiteboard. Why are you meaning the use of the whiteboard? Because there are some illustrations which we have been projecting, just like the sketch map. The sketch map of I mean, not the sketch map, but the landscape sketch of the area shown in the photograph. Yeah, that one was done.
Yes, Mr. Asea, my point was making illustration. For example, like when you projected the photograph of those hills, now you may find, okay, some end group may not actually exactly get, but maybe if there's an illustration showing the spur from one side and then the other side, then interlocking. In my view, I felt like maybe it would kind of like bring the picture out more clearly, because some people may just assume and see, and they may not get the picture clearly very well. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, I think you have got you clearly. Yeah. Because as far as the spurs are concerned, there are many who are asking about the spur. That's why we brought this other picture, this new picture. I mean, the other picture we brought last. I hope people manage to get that. Otherwise, there are cases whereby there's a need to use the whiteboard. Yeah, we shall be using it here so that we can illustrate things quite clearly. Others, that's why I was trying to annotate on the diagrams. Given. Someone's the hands are up. Those ones who are not putting up the hands, you may lower them, but there are those ones who's, because we have Aloysius, Peter.
So let's say you have 1 minute only to ask your question or make your comment, no more. Let us start with Marion. Marion, 1 minute. The facilitator will take the questions and then we close. He will not answer. Let's take them. Marion.
Okay, so good afternoon. I'm sorry I've come late. So I have tried out the link that you've sent in the chat room, the YouTube. So when I went to YouTube, they're like, sorry, the video is no longer available. So I do not know.
Okay, I'll send another link. I'm going to send another link. I didn't know that one had expired. So let me copy this.
Okay, thank
you. I'm sending it shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Kwagala Patricia, you're next. Patricia? Patricia? Patricia is not on.
We want to join the group.
Patricia, you want to join the group? I'm sending the link shortly. Thank you. Then Peter's.
Yes, the WhatsApp group.
Okay, I'm sending it shortly. Peter Awire.
The
WhatsApp group is here now. It is in your chat room. Peter Awire, go on.
Thanks for all the things, Mr. Solomon. But about the issue of the title on describing the landscape, is it okay to also write the title in capital letters, or it's okay for both sides?
Mr. Asea.
Yes, yeah. Okay, she was asking about the title to be written in capital letters. Okay, there have been cases whereby teachers have emphasized that the title ought to be written in capital letters, in block letters. Okay, it's okay that way. It maybe is recommended. But there's no problem if it may not be written in what? In the lowercase, so the small letters. Capital letters, whether capital or not, yeah, I think it is still okay. But for the O levels, we have been trying to emphasize they should put it in what? In capital letters. But now you at your stage, you may not have to write in capital letters. Okay. Was there any other question related to that? Okay.
Siobhan? Rachel Siobhan. Unmute.
Yeah, so the link you're sending of the YouTube for the work you've been discussing, that link it's not available like in the YouTube thing. You've been sending, even the current one.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Let's pass.
So the one you just sent.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Let us first stream. When the stream is done, I'll copy it and put it in the WhatsApp group after here. Because this is live, I'll copy and put it in the WhatsApp group shortly.
Okay.
Then, thank you. Then Griffin. Rocky Griffin. And finally, Timon. Rocky? Okay. So, for the WhatsApp group, I have shared the link. After the stream is done, I'm going to copy the link and then send it to you in the WhatsApp group. Please share it, and then you may follow. Rocky, we are not able to hear you, and you'll be the last for today. The rest, kindly type your questions in the chat room. We'll be able to follow them up. At this time, I want to check if there are other teachers present. I saw a few others came in. Head teacher, Mr. Arthur Mbarule, was around. I think he has left. No, he's in. Mr. Mbarule, Arthur, head teacher Mwiri, kindly introduce yourself quickly, and we go to the other teachers and then close. Okay, we haven't got him. Do we have other teachers here? Bwana Peter, kindly introduce yourself quickly.
Bamega Peter from One Girls School.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful for this platform and the opportunity given to the students, especially the candidates.
Great.
And I just request that maybe we should also embrace other papers, paper 2 and paper 3, because I personally am in paper 3 mainly.
Okay, so Bwana Peter, kindly, I'll follow up with you. Please drop your line in the chat room. I'll follow up with you so that we can also do paper 3. Otherwise, we have been doing paper 1 and 2, but we are very delighted to have other teachers work with us. So kindly drop it so that next time we can see how we schedule. Timo?
Yes, Sabina, what's the evidence for fishing in a photograph?
Evidence of fishing in the photograph. Thank you for the question. We are going to handle that next week, the other week. Then I see Ambrose. Ambrose?
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, please.
Ambrose?
Thank you very much. I'm a teacher by profession. Yes, please. Hello.
Yeah, Ambrose, we are able to hear you.
Hello. I'm a professional in police studies. Also
sorry, we have lost you. I'm not able to hear the other parts. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Ambrose, kindly type your question. Ambrose, sorry, we are not able to hear you. Kindly type the question in the chat room. Type the question in the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, please accept our appreciation to you for turning up for today. Would like to thank Mr. Asea Solomon for sharing his expertise with us today. Mr. Asea, we don't take your presence for granted. Thank you for preparing. We know how much it takes to prepare and share. We treasure you. We treasure you as geographers, and we know that you're impacting many lives across the country. So with those few remarks, I want to check on Mr. Asea if he has final remarks to make, and then we will close. Mr. Asea, please make your remarks if you have some, and then you can close.
Okay, thank you very much, Ayub. And also thanks everyone for the we too appreciate your interest, and also there's we feel that with this lockdown, we shouldn't sit sleep, but we should do something. So we thank all those who have been able to come and be able to participate in this lesson online. And one thing I forgot about the sketchy map, I mean the landscape sketch. If it is an aerial photograph, normally you are told to draw a sketch map. If it is an aerial photograph, they may not tell you to draw a landscape sketch. So with an aerial photograph, you draw what? The map of the place, whereby you use the plant symbols, because the features is one of the tops of the features that you are seeing. I think with the aerial photograph, there's nothing like a landscape sketch, but what? The sketch map is what you may draw. Okay, otherwise, thank you very much. I wish you the best, and we thank Ayub, Kalema, and the team for all that we are doing to ensure that we learn. I also learn from sharing with you people. Know that I know everything, but learning is a continuous process. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So I'll request you all to switch on your videos so that we can take one screenshot at this time. So kindly, if you are able to do so, switch on your videos, then we can take a picture, one picture at least. Okay, so switch on your video if you can. If you are able to switch on your video, please do so. So I've taken the first one. So I've taken one. I'm going to take a second one, second screen. If you can switch on your video, switch it on. Okay. Oh, great. So thank you very much. We wish you all the best. Keep safe, keep the social distance. Make sure that you look after yourselves and your relatives. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Woo!